Join us on an extraordinary journey as we return to the captivating landscapes of Norway, embarking on a 5-day wild camping trip. Our destination, the renowned Dovrefjell Sunndalsfjella National Park. We find out what makes this place so special, tackling its varying landscapes, including its highest peak, Snohetta. We camp at some of our most memorable locations to date and enjoy some of the most challenging hikes that we've ever done. Our adventure commenced at Kongsvoll train station, where we began our journey heading west. Day 1 was all about covering around 13 kilometres, with our goal being to set up camp alongside one of Dovrefjell's many picturesque mountain lakes. This location would position us perfectly for our next challenge of tackling Snohetta on the second day. The initial leg began with a pleasant and fairly gentle walk. Apart from a couple straightforward river crossings, the path remained very accessible, a contrast to what awaited us throughout the upcoming days. Nevertheless, it served as an ideal warm-up, preparing us mentally and physically for the demanding and rugged terrain that would define most of our adventure. So really interested us, this place holds a lot of historical and cultural significance in Norway, and even dating towards the Viking times it was known as a meeting place and a sort of symbol of peace. And in more recent history, well not so recent, the 1800s, I think it was 1814, it was used in a constitutional oath which said, "We stand united and true until the Dover Mountains fall," essentially till the end of time. And I think that just goes to show the reputation that this place has in this country, that above all else, above all other cities, national parks, or above any sort of king or god, they chose this place to be that representation and that eternal symbol. So the plan for the next couple of hours is we're going to head off in this direction, and the path is just going to wind around, essentially following the river into that valley. I'm going to be stopping off by, well, just before one of the first huts on this route, which is Reinheim hut, or Reinheim DNT. But we're not staying in a cabin tonight. It's the first night, can't be doing that, so we're going to stop by one of the lakes and set up home for the night. So, if you look behind me, over there you'll be able to see the herds of what's known as the Musk Oxen. And pretty sure it's the only place in Norway that has them. It's actually one of the last places on earth which they inhabit. Made up to see that. That's been one of the main things on my list that I wanted to see while I was here. These resilient, prehistoric looking creatures, known for their thick fur, curved horns and the musky odour that gives them their name, have a fascinating history in Dovrefjell. These herbivores once roamed the landscape as far as 100,000 years ago. However, during the last ice age, as the climate warmed, they disappeared from this region. Fast forward to the early 20th century and musk oxen were on the verge of extinction worldwide. Recognising the importance of preserving this species and its historical connection to Norway, a reintroduction effort was initiated. In 1932, they were successfully reintroduced from Greenland and have since then thrived in the challenging mountain environment, and they play a vital role in the park's unique ecosystem. Having not expected to get a sighting this early in the trip, and even being sceptical whether we would get to see one at all, we took this as a good omen for our journey and continued onwards in high spirits. Wind's really picking up now. I think we were a little bit sheltered before, and then as soon as we made it up on that last small ascent, you just feel the wind blowing through in this direction. And it's not something that's going to cause us any issues, but you can feel it picking up. And it's quite cold on your face, that breeze. So what I'm going to do now, while Greg's scouting over there, I'm just going to walk around the perimeter of this lake just for a little bit, see if it gets better. But I'll just show you the ground that we're walking through. So, like I said, it's just really boggy. You've got to kind of look around for the best routes. Best areas to get through, there's not too much water. But yeah, lovely spot. After a bit of looking round, it was clear that camping near the lake wasn't a viable option. Thankfully, Greg found a more suitable area, and while the ground was far from perfect, we had no complaints and were happy to find home for the first night of our trip. Right, so we managed to get the tent set up. Had a little ordeal with this initially, but managed to get it set up nicely. But yeah, in the end, I think considering the ground not being ideal, it's actually turned out to be a pretty good pitch. Pretty flat ground. Certainly been in worse pitches, and yeah, really happy with that. Yeah, I'll just talk you through our tent setup. So once again, I'm in the Lanshan 1 Plus. See the wind coming in there. The door acting like a sail. But yeah, back out in the Lanshan 1 Plus. Tent I really trust. But yeah, as I say, didn't get a bad pitch at all. It's looking nice and cosy in there. See Greg set up. So he's out again in the Gossamer gear, the one. Cracking ultralight tent. And again, it's not looking bad in there at all.
What are you doing in the tent?
Really nice spot, really happy with that. So today I'm on the pulled pork with rice by Real Termat. I've tried Real Termat breakfasts, but I've not tried any of the main meals, so looking forward to trying this. Let's see what you're on, Greg.
That doesn't look appetising, like, but just got mac and cheese.
It's white, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's that by then, who's it?
I don't even know what to pronounce it.
I've never seen them before.
Yeah, love. Tastes alright though.
Greg's got a good little tip, he's bought some Tabasco sauce.
Just dehydrated meals can be pretty bland and just throw the hot sauce in it, innit?
Yeah, great shout that. Right, as always, you know the score, give us a rating out of 10.
Probably rate it as like a 6, then with the Tabasco, probably bumps it up to a 7.
To a 7?
Yeah.
Right, so the time has just gone. Time for me scran. Good little tip as well, it's a classic dish, loads of people know about it, but you keep that in your jacket. Just helps to keep it warm, otherwise sometimes you can cool down, and helps if you've got a little meal cozy as well. I'll tell you what, it looks good though. So right there,
Yeah, it does.
it smells good. It's good on that.
Good, yeah.
As I've had my first Real Termat main meal I've had, and I've heard good things about it, and I can see why. And that's a solid 8 that.
Yeah.
Solid 8. Maybe an 8.5. Got an updated score, folks. It's a 9 that. Easy 9. Helped by the secondary judge make the decision.
Yeah, I put it in. There's so much flavour on it for, not even for like a dehydrated meal, just for like any meal.
Yeah, for any. Like
Yeah.
it's, I'll be happy with that, aren't we? Right, so we're just in the tents now. After lunch, that temperature didn't half drop. Honestly, as soon as the sun goes down over here, the temperature just drops rapidly. It just takes all of its warmth with it. And I know that sounds like such an obvious thing to say, but it really is drastic, the temperature difference over here when that goes down. Obviously, we are at a high elevation. I think we're at around 1,300 metres. So I think we're already above anything that's in the UK. It's sitting at around 4 degrees, but I am expecting that to drop a bit further over the next few hours. But yeah, that's it. That's it from me. I want to get tucked up in my bag, get nice and cosy, nice and warm. Might watch something on Netflix just for 10-15 minutes before I go to sleep. But yeah, I'll see you in the morning. Right, good morning everyone. So we're both up, it's just gone, it's about 7:30, we're about 7:45 now. We woke up to a beautiful morning. Really, really clear skies, great conditions. Honestly, not a cloud in sight, so far the forecast has been spot on. Hopefully that's going to be the same when we get to the top of Snohetta and we can get those views. In terms of last night, that temperature did continue to drop and it got down to 0 degrees in Greg's tent, so probably outside got into the minuses just about. So I got a fair bit of condensation in here. When I woke up there was a lot of beads of water just towards the apex of the inner of the tent. And the footbox of the quilt is a little bit wet. I'm going to try and dry that out in the sun just while I'm having my breakfast. And the tents themselves are, they're soaking really. Hasn't been any rain, but if you were to feel them, you would have thought it'd been torrential rain all night. Absolutely soaking. A little bit wet, them boots. But they'll warm up quickly when I get walking. Ooh, they do feel a bit cold there though.
Musk Oxen or a rock, can't tell.
Where?
Is a musk ox or a rock there?
And what a start to the morning that is. Having a musk ox not too far from camp. Just mulling about, minding his own business. It's bizarre really, just waking up just to have this animal that was knocking around here 100,000 years ago. It is important to keep your distance apparently. Even on the way into Dovrefjell, I think we went past about 3 warning signs just warning you that you're in the area of Musk Oxen to keep your distance, because while they won't just attack out of nowhere, if you get too close there is a chance that they could charge at you. And they can run fast, they can run a lot faster than us, put it that way. Yeah, so as you can see, Snohetta made itself clear today. A few clouds just moving over now. You can see the clouds coming from behind us there, to be fair. But like I said, what a morning, eh? So this morning we're just on a little something to eat, morning oats with raspberry. I'd say something to eat and real tame at the top of the list for me. Really nice that. And to go with it, just got a little green tea. Right, so we're just packing up now. What I'm going to do, just because the tents are still really wet, I'm going to pack the inner separate from the outer, just so that doesn't get wet when it's all rolled up. It still feels heavy. Right, so we've set off. As I mentioned, plan is head up the big boy, head up Snohetta. But we've just have a little look at one of these fishing huts. There's another little one over there. Be great staying the night in one of them. But I think the entrance is locked. So unfortunately can't have a look inside that one. Now well, keep pushing on. There's the other lake. Really boggy again now. I don't think we would have found a pitch. We would have struggled anyway. It's funny because you look over and it looks perfect. Looks like you'd have a game of footy on that, but as soon as you get closer, you realise just how boggy it is. Be careful here.
Rain in 25 years, like last week.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good point. So as Greg just mentioned then, the weather here has been horrific for the weeks leading up to this trip. We've had the most rainfall we've ever had in the last 25 years anyway. And I think it would still be boggy in this area, but I think it definitely hasn't helped. What am I breath there? There was a lot of cancelled trains. We had to change our travel plans. Get a train to Lillehammer and then get the bus, because all the train lines leading all the way up to Dovrefjell, or up to Optal, which is where we stayed before this, were all closed. I think it was red weather warnings here, it was that bad. Even still down south, the last couple of days there was a red weather warning as well, so we've got lucky here really. And we were meant to be coming here last week instead, but we rescheduled. So very thankful we rescheduled there. We got off lucky there, didn't we?
Yeah, it would have been a mess.
Yeah, it would have been an absolute
I don't even
nightmare.
think I made it to this national park.
So I probably wouldn't.
No.
Probably would have had to like find a different place. How are we feeling, Greg?
Yeah, it's going to be an hard day, innit? I think we got 1,000 metres to climb. We've already done 550 since yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think we are going.
It's looking, I think the closer we're getting, it's looking steeper, isn't it? I didn't think it didn't look too bad this morning.
Well, we'll get up there, then we'll get down, then fall a dip and done.
After an hour or so, we made it to our first stop-off point of the day, DNT Reinheim. These cabins are scattered across the country, nestled in some of the most remote natural settings the country has to offer. They're integral to the Norwegian hiking tradition, providing shelter and a welcoming sense of community. While we didn't stay at any cabins on this particular trip, they're a great way to experience Norway's outdoor heritage and culture.
So we just stopped off for a sec by DNT Reinheim, just before we tackle the big fella. They're great, these cabins, as you can see, there's two here and then there's one just off camera behind me. But they have these in all the national parks in Norway, I think, and they have a few different types. So some are manned where you'll have staff there, some are self-service where there'll be some amenities, but you've kind of got to help yourself. They're great places to stop. I think a lot of people who come to these national parks, instead of camping, they'll just go from cabin to cabin. And there she is. She's got our first view of it from this elevation. That is a ridiculous sight. Absolutely stunning. Cannot wait to get to the top of that and see what the view's like. It is just an absolute mammoth of a peak, and I think we're just going to make our way up and around this ridge. Just off behind me you can see a nice lake there as well.
At this point, we made a strategic decision to pause and recharge before confronting arguably the most demanding leg of our journey. As we took on some essential calories, we gazed up at Snohetta's imposing silhouette. There was a sense of anticipation and a little bit of apprehension starting to creep in, knowing that the next few hours was going to be a real challenge.
Down, are we?
Yeah.
Slacking.
I don't feel too bad, just my legs are getting a bit.
Yeah, that's it.
In my thighs.
To be fair, I think this works for us, just every now and again just stopping, regaining strength. How you doing, fella?
Not too bad now. Bit of a slog like, but and we've got about 600 metres left to climb.
Now we must have done, it was 600 before, we must have done about another 100 there or something.
Yeah, we have.
Like 500 left, 450.
Yeah, just under 500 left.
Oh, fair old yawn play.
Yeah.
I think it is getting quite challenging this bit though. Ah, hell. Mate, that was tough. Tough, that last bit. Absolute slog. We think we can see just in the distance the top of the weather station, which is the summit. Fingers crossed. Right, so we're just into the snow. Woo! It's slippy. Quite icy that, it's not like soft snow, is it? Let's get off that. Woo! Look at that. Some view that, eh? Right, so here we are, finally at the top of Snohetta. Again, the tallest peak in Dovrefjell and the tallest peak outside of Jotunheimen. And that was a good old slog, that. Really challenging walk towards the end. Just endless rocks, steep rocks and boulders. But we set off at 9:30 this morning and it's about 6:15 now, so it has been a good old walk, but it's all been worth it. The views have not disappointed. Just everywhere you look, absolutely stunning views, and you can just see off into the distance to the other national parks. And these peaks behind me, I've never seen anything quite like that in my life. Really aggressive, sharp peaks which are only accessible by ropes. Really intimidating, rugged landscape. Absolutely over the moon to be here. This is the view I've been waiting for when we booked this 6 months or so ago. It has not disappointed. That's got to be the best view I've ever seen in my life. Never seen anything quite like it. I'd love to just stay up here for a good while, but what goes up must come down, as they say. And we've got to go all the way down now. Make a long trek down to the bottom and hopefully try and find a good pitch. It's looking really rocky. I think we might struggle. So we're just going to spend another 10 minutes up here admiring the views and then we'll make our way down. Yeah, I will not forget this place anytime soon. Beautiful. We were stood upon Stortoppen, the highest peak of the mountain. From this vantage point you could see the desolate landscape spread endlessly in every direction. To the south was the familiar site of Rondam, the backdrop of last year's adventure, while to the east we could see the peaky landscape of Jotunheimen, home to giants and a destination we eagerly anticipate visiting on a future trip. But with daylight fading, it became imperative to embark on our descent down the mountain in search of camp before nightfall. Right, so we're on the descent down and a little bit sketchy in parts. Some loose rock, you really have got to be quite slow and calm and really consider your footing. Some patches of snow, or well, it's basically ice, it's rock solid, that we're just avoiding as well. But thank God they've got these little wayfinders. You probably noticed this in the video already, but they've got these red T's and sometimes like a little red dot like that. Massively helps. I think we'd really struggle navigating down here if it weren't for those. Really good wayfinding system. But yeah, we're just going to make slow progress, not rush anything. And I think, like we mentioned, I think we're going to try and, once we get to the bottom of this, see if we can get a pitch by that lake. Otherwise, well, the original plan was to walk further on to the next cabin, but we want to just camp up as soon as possible now, to be honest. It's been a long day. Just seeing if we can dodge the snow here. There are some footprints, but it is slippy. Potentially maybe be able to go just up and around these rocks there.
If you go on that, you're gone, aren't you?
Yeah, you can't. If you slip on that, you're going down there at best. At worst, you're going right down there. See ya. Good knowing you. See ya. Oh my shit. This is why you've got to be careful. I can just illustrate this. Oh, really loose, big boulder there, which usually the bigger ones you feel like you can trust them a lot more, but that nearly went then. That could have ended a lot worse. Some drop that.
Progress was slow going, to say the least. The walk up had clearly took its toll. Physically, every step was laboured, yet mentally it was crucial to remain focused as to avoid any sort of injury.
Oh, my legs have stopped functioning properly here. Oh, so shaky. I feel brittle. It's an absolute grueler. My legs are absolutely done in. My knees and my legs are shaking every time I try and lower myself onto a rock. Oh. Half the rocks are loose. Really difficult after that long day. I can't wait to just get in that tent. Well, not even the tent, can't wait to get my food on. Have a big old scan. Get in the tent, put a film on, probably fall asleep in 5 minutes. Oh, right. We push on. So it's 8:15 now. Hoping to try and get somewhere by about 9. But a lot of that is going to depend on the ground because, I mean, it's just looking really rocky. We've spotted a few little boggy bits where we think, do you know what, it might not be ideal, but it's going to be better than rock. My feet are throbbing. These dogs are barking, I can't wait to get them off. Greg spotted this little bit here. Reckon it might be some sort of like sand or clay. We're going to walk over to, check it out. It's hard to tell from up here. If not, we're just gonna have to scout the area really and just see if we can find any.
I think it'll be clay, because I've noticed underneath some of the rocks, like here, and that when it's smoothed out, it's all clay.
Is it alright? Is it solid enough to get like a tent and a bed on it?
Yeah, be able to get pecking it. So easily. If it is what it looks like, it might just be a big pile of rocks from here.
Yeah.
If not, it's only 2 hours and 20 minutes to the cabin. If we get there in shit, we'll have our tea, lads.
Do you reckon, yeah? Have some scan.
Have something to eat.
Then make a decision.
Then carry on walking until we find a patch where we can get our tents.
Yeah.
If it's 2 hours away or 3, it's one of them. You have to do it, don't you?
Could be a shot, lads. He's lost it, you know. He reckons we're camping on that. He described it as a pristine mound of clay. I'd bet my life on that not being pitchable. Yes! Oh shit! Yes! We're flying. We've got down. Off all the rocks, finally. And when we were looking up there, we didn't know whether this ground was just going to be, you know, absolute bog with loads of water. Where?
Did you say we?
Yeah.
I've been saying this is the sickest patch in all of...
Nah, you've been saying that's the most pristine patch of clay you've ever seen. But yeah, the ground anyway, the ground is absolutely fine. It's more than fine. Still a lot of rocks about, but we'll easily find a few blank patches where we can get a tent. Oh, absolutely made up there. Absolutely made up after a day like that. We thought we might have been looking around for another hour or so, trying to find somewhere to pitch. Oh, so happy that's worked out for us. So happy. Oh, here we go. Oh, go on, Greg. This is what you wired up. This is where you can camp. Look at that. Perfect ground to camp on, isn't it?
Just like Crosby Beach.
Yeah. You'll sink on that overnight. Ah, well, we didn't need it in the end anyway. We pitched up our tents with a huge sense of relief. After a long 30-hour day, we were completely spent, and the prospect of any more hiking was daunting, to say the least. It was great to be setting up, knowing that we'd soon be enjoying a hot meal and lying back on our beds. This was one of my absolute favourite moments of the trip. Just sitting there, taking in the sunset, being completely present in the moment. Oh. Looks like Odin answered me prayers. Look at that sky. Just the sun just beaming through the middle of those two peaks, through the saddle. Get on that. Absolutely gorgeous. And then the light's coming in from that direction. You can see a bit of orange, bit of pinks coming through at the top of the ridge. And then just over here, you can see it just hitting that face in the distance. Now the spin right round. It's just blowing right over. Just this orange and pink colours in the clouds. Looks absolutely stunning. Looks like there's a fire or something. We've had some moments today. Some unbelievable moments. Absolutely blew me away being at the top of that peak. Blew me away, never seen nothing like it. And the fact we've been lucky enough to get here and find a pitch when we thought it was going to be an absolute pain in the ass. And then to just catch that light at the end of the day, special, absolutely special. Conditions all day have been absolutely perfect as well. We've been so lucky, especially with the fact we've had so much rainfall in the past month. Can't believe how we've just got away with it. Jammy bastards. I'm starving as well. I need to have my tea, but I'm just going to sit up here for a bit. Just take in those views. Not take that for granted. What a place. Join us next time as we embark on the second part of our journey, venturing further into Dovrefjell and experiencing one of the most memorable days hiking to date, with another challenging trek that didn't all go exactly to plan. We've had an absolute nightmare here.